The Chicago Bears went 6-11 last year. They were the third place team in the division. Their over under is 6.5. They have a number of additions, but none that like really get you going. I mean, Byron Pringle and Equinemius St. Brown at the wide receiver position, and Justin Jones, my boy from NC State, at the defensive tackle position. After the Larry Ogunjobi signing did not work out, they lost Allen Robinson, Andy Dalton / Nick Foles. They traded Khalil Mack. Tariq Cohen's been released. Eddie Goldman's been released. Akeem Hicks is gone as well. Danny Trevathan's been released. Marquise Goodwin, Jakeem Grant, Demir Bird, all wide receivers who are gone. I mean, I look at this team and think these guys are not that interested in winning a ton of football games this year based on their transactional moves. I have major questions about what the Bears are trying to do with Justin Fields, because this is just not how you would build around a franchise quarterback. If you believe he's a franchise quarterback, it may simply be a bad timing of new regime drafts guy, then still gets fired after 1 year. Old regime drafts guy gets fired after 1 year. New regime comes in and it's like, look, before we can be a contender, we got to clean this up. And so they just decided to kind of completely reboot. They're going to have a totally new defense. They've been running the 3-4 for years. Matt Eberflus, presumably going to run the 4-3 in that zone 4-3 that he loves to run. And I mean, look, there's no reason this over-under should be as high as 6.5, in my opinion.
No, not at all. Not even a little bit. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at 3 of your first 5 on the road. One of those games at home is the opener against San Francisco. You're
and they're 8-point dogs or whatever.
Right. So it's like, I don't know, maybe, you're playing the Texans in week 3, so you can hang your hat on possibly, being a favorite there, but I could even see Houston beating you in that situation.
Yeah. I mean,
and then you're talking about what, like 0-5 to begin the year?
I think we got to give them the Houston win.
Yeah.
So that gets you to, can we give them a win against Washington at home? I think that's not.
No, that's not out of the realm of possibility.
All right. So 6 weeks in, we got them 2-4. At New England loss, at Cowboys loss, that's 2-6. Man, right here is where it might flip. Is like Dolphins at home, Lions at home, at Falcons, at Jets. If they're not going to win all 4 of those, do we have a split there?
3-1 is best case, I think.
3-1 would be an incredible run for them.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go 3-1. So now they're 5-7. Packers at home in week 13. I think that's a loss. And then Philly at home in week 15. I think that's a loss. Bills at home in week 16. I have that as a loss. So at Lions, home against Vikings. When you're 5-10?
At very best, you're probably getting 6 wins.
Yeah.
So you're hitting the under here for sure. And again, that is top output. But I think you kind of feel the same way I do about this Chicago team. I don't know if they're going to be scoring a lot of points here. I don't think they're going to be particularly very good. So
first time offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy. It's not an easy, working. Now, on the other hand, you could argue that he might, unlike Matt Nagy, design an offense that helps Justin Fields, but they still just don't have a ton of weapons. It's like Cole Kmet and Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, it's just there's not a lot to write home about. Even when you have David Montgomery in the backfield too, it's like I guess that there are some pieces, but ultimately nothing that really impresses you. And kind of an alternate bet that I would be looking at here, if you don't find this super valuable, Chicago is the lowest scoring offense in the NFL plus 700. That to me is something that I'm keeping an eye on. That's the 3rd lowest odds.
7-1.
Yeah,
how are lowest odds in the NFL? Be the lowest scoring offense. That's a good deal.
And so they were the 6th fewest last year, and in the 10 games that Fields started, they were averaging 16.8 points per game. That might, if they, and that is with like Allen Robinson and those guys obviously playing. So I think that is a little, if you feel like I think we do, where this team isn't going to be particularly very good or not interested in being very good, and they don't have a lot of weapons, that might be an area where I'm saying, okay, they might be the lowest scoring offense in the NFL, or at least it's conceivable. I think that 7-1 type of long shot is a little bit more juicy than just this under win total.
Perkle Panda 55 in the chat says, I really like Matt Eberflus. They really got the best guy they could. I like Matt Eberflus too.
For sure, yeah.
I'm not saying he can't be good. I just don't think the way that they're not going to be able to stop anybody against a run. And maybe Roquan Smith is an unbelievable fit in this defense. It's entirely possible. We saw how well, Darius Leonard did, different physical, skill sets, but similar statistical production for both those guys. It's just, man, it's like I think that this new regime, Ryan Poles and Eberflus, came in and was like, look, we can make this work, but you guys are going to have to be patient and understand that this roster is not anywhere near competitive, despite maybe making the playoffs and then flirting with the playoffs and being like sneaking. You don't want to sneak into the playoffs in the NFL.
No.
Like, you don't want to be this fringe contending team that sneaks in the playoffs and gets blown out in a wild card game, or needs like a double doink to win a wild card. Like
I was gonna say they were that under Nagy towards the tail end, where Trubisky went on that run, and all of a sudden they're in the playoffs. But what does that really do you?
Exactly. Like I just don't think that. I think they're trying to build a base. And they didn't have a first round pick, right? I mean, like it's just hard to you can't flip a team around when you don't have a first. Then they used the second round pick, Jaquan Brisker. They get a safety, and Kyler Gordon. They had 2 second round picks after the Khalil Mack trade. So they shored up the defensive secondary. And Robert Quinn has been a great pass rusher. Jalen Johnson's a really good cornerback. Eddie Jackson has been good at times. Like there's a chance his defense is closer to average than we think. I just don't see a path to the offense being any good.
Right. And that's where I'm paying attention a little bit more in terms of the win total. Again, I'm going under, but I also have my eye on the lowest scoring offense in the NFL, 7-1. I think it's the Texans and the Falcons are the only 2 teams that have worse odds. And, Texans could score. If Davis Mills is any good, there's more weapons around him than there is Justin Fields right now. And, I don't know what Atlanta will look like. So that might be the kind of wild card there to rival you with Chicago. But ultimately, I think you'll be right there.